Remember the online therapy session that Prince Harry had earlier on this year to promote Spare? Well, I do, because I bought a ticket to attend it, and Dr. Gabor Maté, his co-host, certainly remembers it and is now regretting doing it. What the deuce is going on here? Well, make sure you subscribe to this channel and stay tuned for more details in this Daily Nerd starting right now. Hey up everyone, it's me, Stef the Alternate, your nerdy alternative, and welcome to another dose of the Daily Nerd, where I break down the royal news and gossip of the day that's pretty much caught me eye, and oh my goodness, yeah, let's jump into this one, shall we? So, a quick teaser came out yesterday of Dr. Gabor Maté, and he said this.
About my interview with Prince Harry, I had a gut feeling all along that I shouldn't agree to do the interview.
Firstly, he had a gut feeling all along that he shouldn't have done the interview. No shiz, Sherlock, right? Oh, but it gets worse.
It really got to me. I lost myself. What happened?
It really got to me. I lost myself. Prince Harry's not gonna like this, I'm telling you. So let's expand a little bit more on what Dr. Gabor Maté said in this whole interview. So he's revealed that this whole situation has actually negatively affected him, and that he's now discussing the negative impact on his interview with Prince Harry earlier on this year. And so just to give you a little bit of a recap, during this interview, Harry discussed a number of claims in the Spare memoir, including mental health impact and trauma of his mother's death back in 1997, and that, you know, Prince Charles back then, who's now King Charles, didn't hug his son when he broke the tragic news. Now, there were two bits that essentially Dr. Gabor Maté said where he was like, look, I really regret doing this interview. Now, the first of one was that he didn't agree with the idea that people were being asked to pay for access to the interview, to the discussion. So he says, quote, I had a gut feeling all along that I shouldn't agree to doing it. The way they set it up, he said, the way it was set up was in order to watch it, people had to buy a copy of Harry's book, and I thought, this is not fair. 4 million people have already bought the book. Why can't they watch this interview? Do they have to buy another copy? Now, this is the thing, right? I actually attended that interview virtually. I bought the ticket. I was there. Look back on my videos earlier on this year because I reported on it extensively. And when I bought the ticket, it was a case of buy the ticket to get into the virtual event, and you also get a free copy of Prince Harry's book Spare, right? Which is why I've got it right there. I didn't actually buy it. I got it as a free copy as part of me attending this virtual kind of interview therapy session that Harry had with Dr. Gabor Maté, right? But Dr. Maté's turning around and saying, oh, no. You bought the book and you got the ticket along with it. So I feel a bit conned there because it was, when I was buying the ticket, it was like, you buy the ticket and you get the book for free. So he then says, in other words, I believe that this should be a free public service on a part of two people who can have a very interesting conversation. But out of sheer opportunism, I agreed to it. So I didn't follow my gut feelings. I lost myself even in agreeing to the format. In other words, Dr. Maté is turning around and saying, I sold myself out. A bit of conspiracy theory, whatever, right? He's saying he lost himself to the format in terms of you've got to pay to access the conversation, right? I think he's saying, I sold myself out there. I sold out my beliefs, you know, my constitution, my dignity to do this. Meghan. Hazza is not going to be happy with this. Now, he also added that after the event, both he and Hazza wanted the recording of the interview made open for the general public to access for free. However, he says, quote, the lawyers said you can't do that because this was advertised as a one-time only event and there could be a class action suit. And yes, it was advertised as a one-time only event, and that was it, right? So if afterwards the whole interview was then available for free for everyone else, do you know what? I would have been absolutely miffed off about it, and I would have done a Stef rant video on this channel for it, right? I would have then felt like I was conned, just like, as far as I'm concerned, Dr. Maté. He says, I agreed to something that I didn't really like. Not that I didn't like the idea of talking with Hazza. I didn't like the idea of putting this behind the paywall. So I lost myself in just agreeing to it. Now, he also says that the second reason why he regrets supporting Spare and doing this whole interview situation was the, quote, demeaning and dismissive reaction from the British press, which included labelling him as a stern, overbearing merchant of pain. He says it was for the most part so negative and so demeaning and so dismissive and so distorted that I barely even know how to talk about it, he said. But I'm calling BS on that one. Why? Because the whole problem with the interview, as far as we were all concerned, was what Hazza was saying. He was praising these illicit substances for helping him with his mental health situation, right? But by doing so, he was slammed for it. He was slammed by a young woman's family who was affected by this, where one of their family members had passed away using it. He was slammed by politicians, by the medical profession. I mean, let's dive a little bit more further into this. So, the family that spoke out and slammed Prince Hazza for this, the situation there was a family member called Jennifer Spencer, aged 29, had unalived herself in 2019 after suffering psychosis from the illicit substance that Hazza was like, it helped me with my mental health. Ooh. During a yoga retreat in Peru. At her inquest, the coroner issued an urgent alert to NHS England. Now, Jennifer's aunt, Fiona Chase, said of Hazza's revelation, quote, he should not be speaking positively about this illicit substance. It's irresponsible because a lot of people look up to him. It worked for him, but it certainly didn't work for Jenny. Like every illicit substance, different people react differently. And the coroner's warning said, quote, there's a lack of awareness about shamanic hallucinogenic illicit substances, right? And their propensity to cause or exacerbate psychosis. In my opinion, action should be taken to prevent future deaths. And this is the thing, right? This whole illicit substance that Hazza was talking about in his interview with Dr. Gabor Maté, right? It's banned in the UK and America for a freaking reason, guys. For a freaking reason. And the only negativity in terms of press coverage for Dr. Gabor Maté is something that I actually reported on as well, which was that he was promoting and he was giving these illicit substances, as reported in the press, to his patients in, I believe, if I remember rightly, Canada. Basically in a country where it's illegal. Yeah, and he was warned by the health service in that specific country to stop what he was doing, otherwise he was going to get prosecuted. Right? So this is why I'm calling BS on his second reason as to why he regrets the interview with Prince Hazza. Because the negative press that he was receiving, I think, was warranted. Now, the politicians also publicly went after this whole virtual online therapy event. You've got English MP Nigel Mills saying, quote, Harry's comments are clearly dangerous. What he said is a disgrace. If you have a coroner issuing warnings about this stuff, then we should not have someone in such a high-profile position promoting and boasting about it. He is by no means a medical expert. His comments are outrageously stupid. And a medical source also then said, quote, Harry's comments are very troubling. Young people could see this as open season. The dangers are clear. So again, Dr. Gabor Maté's whole second reason as to why he regrets supporting Spare and doing this online therapy session, I'm calling BS on that. However, his first reason, where he's turning around and he's saying, look, it shouldn't have been behind a paywall. I had a gut feeling to begin with not to do it, but I went against it and I did it anyway. Essentially saying, as far as I'm concerned, that he sold himself out to it all. Yeah, I can certainly believe that. And I'm like, you know what? Fair enough. At least he's admitting it and he's taking responsibility. And he's publicly kind of turning around and saying, do you know what? When I did that online therapy session with Hazza, in hindsight, actually, it was a mistake. And this is why. I'll give him snaps for that, to be fair. However, Prince Hazza, nah, he's not going to be liking that revelation from Dr. Gabor Maté at all. With that being said, if you appreciate this video and you want more, believe me, of course there's going to be more, then make sure you subscribe to join our alternate tribe. I'll be honest with you, help us get to 100k so we can get that silver play button right there. Like, share, comment down below your opinion, conspiracy theories, whatever's. Also as well, if you've got some very strong opinions about Dr. Maté coming out and basically saying that he's regretting promoting Spare and doing that online therapy session, and I bet you do, then make sure you send me a super thanks. It's just below this video right here. We can have a conversation about this because it does guarantee a response from me. And until the next time, you guys, laters.